What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Kinda Funny Video Game Club, episode 2. Today we're talking about the Division 2. If you're keeping track, yes, both video game clubs have been about Ubisoft games. I didn't notice that until I went to Uplay Again or whatever to get stats. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside the best hair in the business, Fran Mirabella III.
Hey, best friends. Hey,
Twitch.tv/FM3_.
Thank you for
hit him up over
that.
there. No problem. This is all Patreon people. They knew it anyway.
Yeah,
and over there, rounding out the trio, the Rogue One, Gary Whitta.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited to be here. I like the Division 2.
Yeah, me too. We're all big fans of the Division 2. I'm excited because I can't think of the last time me and Gary have this relationship. You know what I mean? Widow Wednesdays, we come and do it. Sometimes I have to bring in a stepdad, a stepmother to be with Gary to host when I'm not there. But I can't
had to do it.
I don't think I've ever done a trio podcast with Gary. You've done Game Over Greggy's show, obviously, back in the day and stuff like that.
I think this is my first like group setting.
Sure, yeah.
that we've done. Yeah.
And we've never all sat together.
I know, right?
So
Look at this.
I'm pretty freaking excited.
We're breaking bread, busting minds, having good times. You know what I'm
Busting
saying?
minds.
That's what I say over here.
That's gonna
If
be
you
the
didn't
strap
know, this is the Kinda Funny Video Game Club. It is one of your benefits of being on patreon.com/kindafunnygames and giving us $1. You can get it there as a video, as an MP3. It's only up on patreon.com/kindafunnygames, unless, of course, it's like, for some reason, I decided to use it as a promotional tool and put it out one day. But it's not like public anywhere else. This is you. This is an exclusive show for you. The Video Game Club is just for you, Patreon people. Of course, bronze members wrote in and have their questions, their reviews, and all that kind of stuff here. We put it up once a month. We are behind schedule, if you're keeping track. We did Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Then we wanted to get enough time with the Division 2, but now it's run into this other month. So then are we going to try to get Days Gone out at the end of it too? A lot of things happening. Nobody knows what's going on, but you're going to keep getting them. It's just $1, right? No big deal?
Just $1.
And if you support this month, you're like, well, I want to talk about Days Gone, but I'm not again. Just save $25 every month for 4 months, and then you get it back then, and then you get all the back issues too. You get all the back episodes too.
Exactly.
Just, abuse the system to whatever makes sense for you.
You don't have $1 for each episode. It's literally just all active.
If you can just let them all stack up. You know what I mean? Wait until the end of the year, then put $1 in, get 12 episodes.
I was just thinking, you have Kinda Funny's Video Game Club, right?
Yeah.
Just $1 to bust your mind.
Just $1 to bust your mind. Housekeeping for you, of course, ladies and gentlemen. We have the Vancouver meet and greet coming up May 4th. KindaFunny.com/events. The Kinda Funny World Tour is still rolling on. London details will be added one day. When? Who knows? I don't know. Joey's got enough things to worry about. I'm not worried about London yet.
It'll happen.
Fran?
Yeah.
I feel like you and I, whether it be Gamescast, your streams, me yelling into the Twitter void, get to talk about our love of the Division quite a bit.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I want to start with one Gary Whitta. I feel like you come up on the Games Daily once in a while. We touch on it, but then we get on to something else.
Yeah.
Last Games Daily, you led with the giant question about it was accessibility and and easy mode and all that jazz. So we had like a 20-minute conversation about that. Let's fuck all the breaking news, all the hot takes.
I like it. We get to dive deep into one subject.
Gary Whitta, this is the other thing too. You marched off to go play on Xbox. You wanted to save DC on Xbox. You know what I mean?
Listen, not a day goes by that I don't feel conflicted about that decision, and I don't want to get into a whole cross-play thing. As you know, that I wish I could just solve it so that we could all play together. We're all playing the same game. Why does there have to be this artificial wall between us? We should all be able to play together. But since we cannot, I played the first Division on Xbox.
Right.
Generally, when there is a multi-platform game, I tend to go to the Xbox side of it because there's a decent chance that the One X version is going to be slightly technically superior to PS4 Pro. A few more gigaflops or whatever, trilinear flip-flopping, whatever you want to call it. Xbox One is going to have a slightly better performance. I just like the controller better. I'm just more of an Xbox guy than a PlayStation guy.
You don't have to justify
it's mostly the controller, if we're being completely honest.
Guy.
The problem with it is when I make that choice, I have to decide which half of my friends. My friends are pretty evenly split between. I've got a lot of good friends on Xbox One, a lot of good friends over on PlayStation.
You got to decide
whichever side I choose. If I'd have chosen PlayStation, I would have been thrilled to be playing with you guys, but I would have missed playing with my Xbox friends. So either way, I'm screwed. What's a person to do, Greg?
PlayStation.
I was going to play on PC.
Just figure it out. Get out of here with your PC garbage.
I made a choice. Who my friends were. And you're on PC,
so actually, this is interesting.
No, he didn't. He made the right move.
Tons of friends on PC.
Fran made the right choice.
A choice.
He said, you know what? I will go to PlayStation. I will play with Greg and Andrea. Steve Owen, everybody on the Kind of Funny clan.
Scotty Lowe.
You know, Scotty Lowe. Yeah.
The truth
Xavier
is,
Woods.
I made the choice. I'm just joking with you, but I made the choice because Division is fun, the first one, and it was Greg, and it was Scott Lowe, and it was this original crew, and I wanted to go back there.
Yeah.
Similar to you with Xbox.
Despite the frame rates, despite everything. No, but seriously, meaning it wasn't about that, and that, well, I'm sure we'll get into it. It's not just about how good it looks on, say, PC.
What about this? And I don't want to get too far down this side alley.
I don't know if you know this about the Video Game Club. Literally,
it's just all side alleys.
It's Patreon.
They're here
because they like
if not cross-play, if not me on my Xbox One doing a raid with you on your PlayStation,
sure.
What about at least cross-progression? If I'm willing to buy both copies of the game, why? And you're doing a raid one night, why can I not just boot up my PlayStation 4 on this particular evening, have it pull all my progression and my stats and my character from Xbox, play, and then whatever progression I achieve on PlayStation when I boot up the Xbox, it's all parlayed back into that. Why can we not at least do that? A common set of stats, cross progression across platforms. Why can't we do that? Is that really so difficult?
Go ahead, Fran.
I thought Sony was still kind of the linchpin there because that's still just not allowed. So my assumption is they're not going to build it because then they're only building it for Xbox and PC. Plus, sometimes you get into exclusive items, and I don't know if there is any on any platform, but like them showing up. But for the most part, because I've gone through this on Destiny, so I'll give you an example.
So why does Destiny does have PlayStation?
Destiny has PlayStation exclusive items. So what do you do if you have like a gun and then in your inventory you switch over?
Even that doesn't hold necessary water because you figure on Fortnite, which does what we're talking about, when you have a PlayStation exclusive skin, right, and you're playing on a non-PlayStation platform, it pops to everybody else. It looks like something else. It doesn't look like the PlayStation skin.
Oh, interesting. That's how they solve it. But whatever the case, I'm sure there's a couple reasons, but it's not a very good reason. I'd understood that it's still like...
I still feel like Fortnite changed the game. Epic using their own login and having that stuff change the game. It is, to your point, like, well, I mean, I just pulled everybody's stats from the Ubisoft Club, right? So that's up there. That's there.
There is a common database for everyone's stats across... regardless of platform.
Sure.
So why not just pull from that and boot that into whatever
you imagine there's some kind of proprietary in the back end. They didn't think they could, and then maybe there are agreements with Xbox, Sony, and...
I really do think it's the first step is cross play, which is the biggest need, right? Because that, like, meaning how many people are actually going to buy 2 copies of a game, and it's pretty small on their list. But meaning the first step is cross play, and since that's not allowed, I just don't think they're going to get to the next step.
Right.
That's all I'm saying.
No, I think it's the normal thing where we've just done this for so long one way that everybody's like, that's how it is. And so to see Fortnite or whoever come in and change it up, Rocket League now changing it up, you're like, oh man, well, we've already been on these rails for so long. Let's see what happens.
But you don't think it's Sony's fault? I mean, I'm just being honest.
No,
like, this one. You
if I thought cross play, or progression or play, cross progression is what we're talking about, was Sony's fault, I 100% think it would be PC and Xbox doing it right now. Because that's how it was.
But see, I think it's time. Like, they have so much to do in the game. Why are they going to focus on just that? If, like, again, crossplay. If you can't get that, why bother with the rest?
Well, I'm sure Microsoft would drive a dump truck of money up to Ubisoft and be like, "Hey, do this."
I think I might be a bit of a voice in the wilderness here, because when I have talked about crossplay and how much I would like to have it on Games Daily, I see a lot of people in the comments going, "I don't care about crossplay." So there might just not be enough public sentiment out there to, if everyone was clamoring for it, the same way, for example, people clamored for PSN ID name change. Sony did that because there was a huge groundswell of support for it. If people aren't really... people on PlayStation 4... Here's the thing. It's probably just people like me on Xbox One, where there's a smaller base of players. Because there's just fewer Xbox Ones out there than there are PlayStation 4s. There's more people playing on PS4. So you probably don't feel... I mean, do you feel like you're missing out? Is there anyone on the Xbox or the PC side that you feel like you're missing out on playing with? Because
it's mainly you, and then I understand that Fran wishes he was playing on PC.
I have a lot of folks on PC, but there's some people on Xbox too. But my actual visible need is really PC and almost exclusively that. You're the only one actually I could think of on Xbox right now. But I know there's some other ones.
And I never want to leave a Division agent behind. You know what I mean? Like, you're out there, you want to come shoot stuff with us. I wish you could come shoot.
Actually, you know what? I think Stone at Ubisoft's an Xbox and PC or something like that. So he's like another one where I'm like, okay, I can only play with you on PC. So,
but Stone sucks, so it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? He'll never see this. He's not on Patreon.
He'll never watch this. It's not even about a game he worked on for like 5 years.
But Gary Witta, steering back on course. You like the Division 2?
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. It's one of those games. Every now and again, I had hoped that it was going to be Red Dead 2. This is a different discussion, but Red Dead 2, as you know, ended up not being what I wanted it to be. And I was as hyped as I was for it. I pre-ordered the $100 version of Red Dead 2. I was all in on it, and then I played it for a few hours, and I just knew it wasn't going to be for me. Like something about the mechanics just wasn't my cup of tea. It's not to say it's not a great game. I admire it tremendously, but I didn't enjoy playing it. And then the next big hope for me was The Division 2, because I knew and this was a more likely to be my cup of tea because I love The Division. It didn't look like they had reinvented the wheel. They had just kind of doubled down on what had already been successful in the first game. And it's one of those, every now and again, a game comes along. I think a couple of times a generation for me, a game comes along that really gets its hooks into me into the degree that when I'm playing it, I love it. Yeah. And when I'm not playing it, I'm thinking about playing it and when I can next play it. And I'm reading about it and watching YouTube videos and thinking about when I can next sneak an hour in.
How badly right now would you kill for a companion app? To go through your inventory management, set up builds, do all sorts of stuff.
I went looking for one in the App Store. I'm surprised they don't have one.
Yeah. I'm hoping that comes down.
Yeah, that is just like a mobile web app. You know, like that's like Destiny Item Manager is a great example. Right. It's just a Chrome app. You can use it on mobile. You don't even need an App Store app. So
Division 2, I'm right there with you, Gary. Where for sure, Red Dead. I was like, oh man, I loved Red Dead 1. Clearly gonna love Red Dead 2. Didn't love Red Dead 2. I'm not being the games as a service guy. I loved The Division based on what Fran and I had done with Division 1, Platinum, and all that jazz. I was super stoked for Division 2, but leading up to Division 2, all people would talk about was Anthem, and that Division 2 just looked like more of the Division, and it wasn't on their radar.
Yeah.
And so when Anthem came out,
how quickly that narrative turned.
When Anthem came out and underperformed, and let people down on expectations, my concern was, oh my God, the Division 2 is going to fuck up now too. Yeah. That if the one game I care about in this games as a service realm is going to be the one that also comes out and shits the bed. And so for the fact that it came out, it didn't, it destroyed, it's gotten so many people on board. But what's crazy for me, so I have the, like we did in the first one, the stats on it, right? The Division 2, the game was announced on March 9th, 2018 by Ubisoft, with the first gameplay footage being shown at E3 in June 2018, and then of course it released March 15th, 2019.
It was only announced a year and a half ago?
Yep.
Well, it's been out, so it's been out for a month today.
That's the thing. It's today's April 15th, right? And I am as addicted right now as I was then, to the point that it is still ruining other games for me. I'm playing other games I'm really a big fan of. Katana Zero, you know what I mean? Yeah. I know Judgment Calls on it. We have Days Gone. We can say we have Days Gone and leave it at that. But even no matter what I'm playing, it's like whether it's good or bad, I'm like, but I could be playing The Division. But I gotta move on. I gotta do other things. And this is my problem with games as a service in general for what we do is it's rare that there's enough time to sit there and put in a month or more now of work, right? All I want to do is get back to this game. All I want to do is run more strongholds.
That happened with me. So I picked up Dangerous Driving.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I felt like I needed a palate cleanser. Like I was enjoying The Division. Yeah, exactly. I was enjoying The Division immensely, but I got to a point where I was slightly feeling like I was kind of bumping up against it. But as much as I love it, a different flavor wouldn't be the worst thing right now. Let's try something else. So I thought, Dangerous Driving, simple. Let's drive around. Let's race. Played it, enjoyed it. But then The Division starts calling back. I got to get back to The Division. Yeah. It just keeps drawing me back.
Yeah, I can't get away from its sirens.
And it's one of those games where, so the thing about The Division is it's not the kind of game you can pick up for 5 minutes, right? If you're going to play, you've got to clear some time to play. Like recently,
Fran's first hour and a half is his inventory.
Yeah, I'm laughing because we'll talk about inventory later.
So the week that when Tidal Basin came out, my wife and I was sitting playing. My wife said, "I'm going to go to bed." I said, "Okay." It was about 10:30.
Yeah.
I said, "I'll do a quick Tidal Basin." I'll see you in about half an hour. I came to bed at 1 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. Because man, Tidal. I mean, we can talk about it separately, but Tidal Basin is even if you
it takes
burn
at least
through
45 minutes. I'd say.
Yeah, I would say like an hour, even if you burn through it. Yeah. But the first time that you played it, we had several wipes. Factoring all the wipes.
Oh, it was the first time you tried it?
Yeah, it was the first time. I thought, we'll just burn through this.
We got this. We're high level.
Wyvern does not go down easily.
Yeah.
Well, you know what it was? It wasn't the first one. It was the first time we did it, we did World Tier 4 that gets you to World Tier 5.
Yeah.
It was the first run through on World Tier 5 that kicked my
ass.
Right.
You tweeted about it the next morning. You said it's no joke. Yeah. Like that must have been.
I was like, World Tier 4. World Tier 4, the first time we did it was no joke. I think we wiped once, but then we got it.
Yeah.
It wasn't that bad.
Yeah, first one.
Going back in on World Tier 5 before we had fully geared up, we wiped several.
No, 5 they bring the pain.
Several times. Yeah, it was a big step up.
And you're still not, at that point, you're still not 500. People were coming, got 500 gear score. People were coming out of 450, and that's where the grind, man, and that's
no. Here's. I mean, what you're supposed to do is run all the invaded missions and gear up, so that when you do World Tier 5 Tidal Basin, you've got the necessary equipment.
Yes.
Yeah, you didn't do that.
No.
Well, you want to bring your gear score up, but
Of course.
But yeah, going back to its hooks getting
Yeah, totally.
and the potential that it was going to launch and it was going to have server problems, it was going to have broken this and that. It definitely had issues, but we're past them. The scaling issue was the biggest one for me.
Sure.
It just like you got stuck around 15 to 20. You're just getting beat the crap out of you
When you joined on other people.
When you joined on other people because the armor wasn't scaling.
Yeah.
They've moved past it, but that actually got
That
to
was
the
a
point
problem for a
that
while, yeah.
I was like, if this is how it's designed, I was legit like, I don't know, this is ruining my experience, and it did for about a day or so. We got past that. But the point is, I had a period in there where I was like, I don't know, man, I'm feeling like it is the same, right? The things you talked about of like, feels like the old division. I don't know if it's going to get its hooks in me. And then flash forward to now.
Yeah.
Like Gary said, I keep thinking about it because I got past it and I'm now into this end game grind and I finally got some gear that I feel good about.
Yeah.
I have these talents and stuff that I really had to think about. And for example, I have this LMG that has tons of, it's 120 in the mag, really good damage, and I have a perk that will refill the mag. So you come down from like 100 bullets and then all of a sudden, bloop, it goes back to 120.
So you just shoot all day long.
And you just, and it's such a good feeling. And so when you reach those points in a game like this, you're like, that was worth my time. And so now I'm thinking about what the next thing I'm going to get. And so that's where I'm finally at that point that, yeah, I'm going to bed. I'm like, man, maybe I'll log on for, it's at least 90 minutes. 30 minutes of management, another hour of maybe playing and walking around. It's just the way that game goes.
Are you, Fran, because we have stats as always pulled up. Fran, right now your playtime is 123 hours.
I kind of was, when you told me that, I was like,
well, you can see it. You get to
oh.
blow past it when you start the game. Like you hit X, on your character because it's just like how many days you've played, which doesn't look nearly as bad as 123 hours spelled out.
Yeah.
On my Uplay thing, Gary for some reason is having problems.
the Division 2 is not showing up on my Uplay account.
I think it's because you've never played.
That must be.
You're just
I'm
reading
a
message
big,
boards and
big
coming
poser,
back with their ideas. But right behind that, I mean, is in terms of my friends on the board, right? Fran at 123, Andrea at 89, myself at 76. So like, there's a healthy chasm there between Andrea and you in terms of your insanity.
But yeah, but you know what? So yes, you can see that it's got its hooks in me, and that when you said it, I actually couldn't believe it. I just lost track of. This is what's weird about it. I was around the 70-hour mark, and I was like, man, I've played quite a bit, but not too crazy.
Yeah.
And that next 60 hours almost doubled my playtime. I just got its hooks in me.
Well, Fran, maybe you can speak to it. For me, this is the thing. I don't know how they do it. I feel like this is a secret sauce of it, where I love Division 2. The reason I'm behind, right, is just because of travel, the world tour, coming back to work, now having to review
you're still
stuff.
doing quite well.
Of course, and I'm literally gonna.
You like
I mean, I was playing at my
490s?
desk. Yeah, my gear score right now is 453. You're 506 according to you. Play Andrew is 499. Gary, you're what? Gear
497.
Score? And then I'm
You're the one's 497.
I'm 453. But it's because what it was again
you've
for
been
me.
traveling all over the place.
Exactly. Tidal Basin dropped the morning we flew to New York, so I woke up with Andrea at different
that's
beds.
right.
Woke up at different houses and played at 7 in the morning. Did Tidal Basin, got to World Tier 5, got the bug where I can't upgrade my workbench, and then bounced to New York. And when I came back, it's been right into show stuff.
gosh.
Another trip. So it's like I have a million other games now to review with Days Gone and things like that. So I'm going to get back to it, but yeah, I'm behind on everything. But I'll get up there, and obviously, and
You've got to get up there. You've got what, 10 more days till the raid?
And then, of course, with Greg Miller luck. Oh, the raid drops on the 25th. On the 26th, Greg, you fly to Chicago. Great.
Oh,
awesome.
no.
Perfect. Yeah.
Oh,
so
no.
it'll probably be the 25th as well, where it's Avengers, but I got to somewhere in the middle of the day try to figure out how this raid's going. And it doesn't matter what I'm saying. What I find
together,
fascinating about it I haven't had a chance to talk to you about it.
Oh, no.
The fact that's crazy about you and me is the fact that you are the mid-max. Let's get in there. Let's move these things around. Let's do all this stuff. And I am not that guy. And I feel like we're both as happy as clams with the game.
Yeah.
Where I have never felt, and granted, I mean, you're farther along, you're grinding right now, but I never felt the need to really worry about recalibration, never worry about the sets doing a certain thing. But you're in there building a perfect loadout.
Trying, but that's what's funny. You say that, Greg. Even I'm like middle of the road compared to the people that watch.
Yeah.
So I generally don't consume all the YouTube videos and go to Reddit, which a lot of these players do. And by the way, I would never condemn that. It's weird. I'm under pressure when I'm streaming because people are like, "How do I do this and this and all your builds?" It's like okay, but you're not a min maxer to the greatest degree. And actually, I always feel bad about it because I'm like, dude, I don't know where I'm going to get these other hours to do that. But you really just spend time on YouTube. People explain it to you, and you move on. As a community, you can get to very high levels. I guess my point is like you can play it however you want.
Yeah.
There's no.
Well, that's what I find amazing about the game.
Yeah, and that's what sticks out to me in the division. Is some people are going to just want to explore the world of DC, and it's this really gritty, cool place to live. And wow, the attention to detail is incredible.
Yeah.
And a place to group up with your friends, and like just the vibe of it. And that's what it's about. And it feels to me like you're more on that. You're like, dude, yeah, I know who I am in this world. Sure, I have some guns that I like, and I know what I'm trying to get, but I'm not going to spend another 12, 20, 30 hours trying to get this one particular gun that may not be worth your time, but you still love it, and that's fine.
And that's the thing is, like, if you want to be that crazy of a person with it, you're there, right? Like Ben Steiner. Ben Steiner writes into patreon.com/kindoffunnygames and says, I absolutely love this game, but I'm frustrated at it right now. I find that some of the steps to get the exotic guns are just far too grindy. I played the Jefferson Trade Center mission at least 15 times and still don't have the exotic Merciless. Honestly, I feel like Massive sometimes caters to the hardcore players who want to spend 400 hours to get all the masks and collectibles. I don't have time to do all that. I would like to see Massive do something about this, like increase drop rates or make a quest for a certain gun, much like Destiny. I think there is a happy medium we can find where it pleases both the hardcore and casual players. The exotic hunt is definitely something I would change with the Division 2. Do you have anything you would like to see change? Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to dunk on the game. I'm 72 hours in and plan to keep playing. Then he came back and updated. After the 25th run on the Jefferson Trade Center, I finally got the drop. Dreams do come true.
Interesting ending to that
The fact
story.
that you kept going, Ben, you say you're not that, and like you sound like you're a pretty hardcore player. Now, because for me personally, I read all that and I'm like, I will never have Merciless. Unless they're gonna probably patch it, make it easier to get. That's when I'd get it. But I'm not running Jefferson Trades 25 times to do this.
Dude, it's like it's just a joke. It's like when you go to a restaurant, the food's awesome, and you're like, the service is so slow, it sucks. I'm never coming back again. 1 week later, you come back. You just eat at the same place.
So I have been rocking an exotic weapon lately, the Chatterbox.
Okay.
And let me tell you, I love it. It's absolutely, if anyone out there who's thinking about is it worth the grind, I would say absolutely
Run me through what is the Chatterbox.
So the Chatterbox is it's an SMG.
Uh-huh.
It has a number of perks which are very fun and exciting.
Okay.
The one that I like the most is that if you're able to, it's got very high stability accuracy, so it's easy to relatively kind of, once you're on target, you can stay on target. You don't have to worry about constantly kind of nudging the weapon to keep it on target. And what's nice about that is that one of the perks, there are others, but this is the one that you kind of feels really visceral. For every shot that you land, the rate of fire of the weapon increases. So by the time you're finishing the mag, it's really so you can drop if you can stay on target and hold as long as you don't miss, you can drop people really quickly. And it's this weird ass looking weapon as well. It's like it's belching like green toxic smoke at the back end of it.
Cool. Okay.
Like the magazine is actually kind of this weird like cylindrical or like a spherical drum that's kind of like hanging at the bottom of it. And
so how hard was it to get?
Okay, so it's one of those things where, much like the hunter's masks and some of the other kind of high level things in the game, when I found out how to do, I had a player who took me through. He said, "Here's what you got to do," and we ran me through the missions that were necessary to do it. Shout out to Necromancer who helped me out on that.
Because you're in the Kind of Funny Xbox clan, right?
Yeah, and he's in the Canadian clan.
A lot of Kind of Funny clans out there. A lot of What's Good clans
KFG.
too. Cool.
He's in KFC, which is Kind of Funny Canada.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
And it's one of those things where there are certain things in the game, and this is one of the examples of when you see how you do it, the first thing you ask is, okay, who was the first person to figure that out?
Yeah.
And how did they figure it out? I understand all the people that come after who go to the YouTube video or look at the walkthrough on Reddit or IGN or wherever.
The majority of
But it's like, who's the first? Who was the first person to stumble on how to do that?
One of the What's Good Guardians took me down in the sewer for the first time to get hyena keys or just keys in general, and I was like, I've run past this shit and never thought to interact. And here you are. He's like, oh, there's like 7. We got this one. It's going to spawn here. Like, all right.
Yeah. So here's how you do the Chatterbox.
Okay.
It's 3 different missions. If you play them on, I believe it's hard difficulty or better, the end boss has there's RNG will drop it or not.
Sure.
And it's 3 different pieces, 3 different components that you pick up. Once you've got all 3 different components, you then have to get the blueprint. The blueprint won't drop for you, and I'm sure I'll be corrected on this
until
one.
you're on the step.
But yeah,
I think that's correct.
Once the game knows that you have all 3 pieces, it will then allow the blueprint to drop.
From a boss.
But the blueprint is in a crazy. Basically, you've got to collect the different faction keys.
Yeah.
So you got to run around sewers a lot, finding the little key boxes that are always really hidden away. They could drop Black Tusk, they could drop True Sons, they could drop Outcasts, they could drop Hyenas. You don't know what key is going to drop. So there's RNG just to get the keys. And then I believe it's the bank mission. There is, once you get into the bank vault, there's a side door that you need a special RFID key to open.
Okay.
To get the RFID, that RFID key is hidden in a secret compartment way further back that you've got to know exactly. It's not
that
like
mission.
It's not like one of those flashing. You know how like loot flashes or
Of course, yeah. Like you get that like orange or yellow layover.
There's no overlay. It's just this hidden panel that the only way you would find it is if you walked around,
or like on cover on it, maybe.
If you touched every surface in the room, eventually a little X will pop up and says it'll open this secret panel.
Sure.
God knows who the first person to find that was because it's so hidden away. You get the RFID key. You open up the bank vault. And then inside the vault, there's a hyena loot box that you need a hyena key for. Once you open that hyena key, you'll get the blueprint, and then you can take it to the crafting bench and make it. And then you've got your exotic.
Yeah.
It's worth it, but boy, do they make you jump through a lot of hoops.
So with the walkthrough, how long did that take you? Because you're worried about random drops, right?
Yeah, so like I said, I think that... here's what happened. I think I actually, without even realizing that I was doing it, had acquired the pieces.
Pieces, yeah.
Because I remember Necromancer was playing with, said, well, check your inventory. What do you have? I said, I've got 3 SMG pieces. He was like, oh, great. All you need is the blueprint.
Oh, nice,
so the blueprint's the only piece I had to grind on. So I had to RNG for the keys. And then once I had the key, I could get in the blueprint. It's a guaranteed drop. But if you decide from scratch that you're going to go out and get these pieces, my guess is you'd have to run those 3 missions several times before you would get all 3 pieces to drop. And then you've got to go find the key and get the blueprint.
I love that that's there. I don't know if it'll ever be something I'm motivated to go do, but I love that that is there for people like you guys that want to go grind out that much or whatever.
The hunter masks, which are purely cosmetic, but people like to collect them. I don't know if you've been following what you have to do to trigger those, but those are really deep.
Yeah, some of the exact same type of secrets. There's just like under a coffee machine. There's a switch in this area. And there's
a whole secret language for you to decipher to figure out the clues.
Yeah, so that's where whenever I can go, I have a lot to say on the subject.
Oh, please go.
What's interesting? There's the vanity items. And there's exotic items. And when you build a game like this, exotics and the weapons you use are like so important. So it's okay to kind of rant for a second.
Go, man. This is the video game
you know
club,
me,
man.
once I start
if
going,
people
you
wanted
can't
a
stop
top
the train.
level division review, those have existed on the Gamescast for a few weeks now.
So what did Ben, what was it, Stein say?
Ben Steiner.
Say at the beginning again?
I absolutely love this game, but I'm frustrated at it right now. I find that some of the steps to get the exotic guns are just far too grindy.
Yeah, the RNG aspect.
It's a hard thing to balance though, isn't it? Because you don't want the exotics to be easy to get, otherwise everyone will have them, they won't be special anymore. But like, how do you make them just hard enough that they're rare, but they're still they're not super annoying to get.
Yeah. So
I've
done a ton of, and this is my chance to have the opinion.
Please
I want
do.
to tell you what they did right and what they did wrong with exotics in Division 2 so far. And I've done a ton of grinding. Obviously, thousands of hours of Destiny 1. Now, I'm sure over 1,000 of Destiny 2. And what happens in games like this is there are quest exotics, and then there's random drop exotics. Obviously, interesting about this is within quest exotics that we have now, you're describing there's random elements. And so some of that's normal, but sometimes you just get an exotic quest that says, look, do this mission, do these steps, you're done. But it's interesting that
you're guaranteed to get the weapon.
Yeah, but I think guaranteed. It's like if you just do this and find the secrets, you're done. But in this, you kind of, like, you do have to get your keys. There is a grind to everything you do. And so overall, I think that's okay. I like that they've built so much in this world. There's like so much to do. That's what is crazy, and I'd love to talk about this later, is like how much there is to do.
Sure.
But, so I do think they did that part right. Quest exotics, you need that, because it's guaranteed, by the way. Eventually, you'll get it, you know how you're going to get it. The difference with non-quest exotics is like, that he was doing, what was it, the Lullaby or something? I forget. But he was doing a mission.
He was doing Merciless. Merciless is what he was going for.
Oh, is that the assault rifle? But I think that one does just drop. So is, I think the Lullaby. But for those, you just keep playing the same mission, maybe for 8 hours, maybe for 10, maybe for 16. I had a gun in Destiny, the Gallahorn, the famous Gallahorn.
Of course, the Gallahorn.
Everybody knows about the Gallahorn. You spent so much time replaying to get to this chest that could potentially drop it, this moment that could potentially drop it. And it was just random, and you just were waiting, and you always had to have people playing with you. But when you got it, like the end of Ben's story, that's what made it so special. Obviously, it was super powerful. So what I will say on that part is I haven't heard people talking quite yet about the amount of time for, say, Merciless or Lullaby, which they randomly drop and takes forever. But it's good that they have them. And so what I'm trying to say is it is good that they have just random drops that you can grind missions, because then what happens is you don't need to go to YouTube and Reddit, and like you might just be playing. You're like, oh my God, what is this orange thing?
Right.
It's orange. What? And you're like, I got it exotic. And that can happen without this like, follow this step and go to this step. On the other side, if you're like, I just want to get an exotic. So you go take the quest steps, and actually it's not too bad, but it's going to take you a certain amount of hours. And I don't know the averages, but I just have like per hour, exotics per hour, EPH,
Exotics
whatever.
per hour. Here it is.
For me, it's not so much about the amount of time it takes to get the stuff once you know what to do. It's figuring out what you need to do. Again, without someone to walk me through, or looking at a YouTube video, again, without that first pathfinder who goes and figures it out and explains it to other people, I would never have figured out on my own that I've got to go into the sewers and get these fucking keys, and then there's another secret key.
You hear people talking about it in the
It's back to
community.
being like playground stuff,
So
right?
do you not, maybe to pause on that, because I have a third point there, do you not like the quest exotics because they're so convoluted?
I've not had a quest exotic drop in Division 2 yet.
Well,
the
no, but
exotic,
you did,
the
'cause the
exotics that I
chatterbox,
have
right?
are the ones that I constructed through running through all the different steps.
No, that's what I meant. I call those quest exotics,
okay.
because meaning
'Cause you
it's
have to do quests
it's
to get
a
'em.
planned quest steps that you can take. Granted, there's some RNG spots, but it's not like some random drop that you just got by playing Jefferson Trade Center.
No, I'm happy.
So
I'm
do you
happy
think
to
they're too
do
convoluted?
it. I don't consider it a chore either, because I enjoy playing the game, and I feel like I actually think it's a really nice way to do it by collecting the pieces separately
Yeah.
and then assembling them. You feel like even before you have the exotic,
you're making
you feel like,
progress.
you're like, I'm halfway there. I'm making progress. I've got all the pieces. I just need one more piece, and then you go to the crafting bench and make it. And when I crafted that chatterbox for the first time and I got it, I felt a real sense of satisfaction. It's like, oh my, it was all worth it. I'm gonna have, and it's a really cool. That's the other thing. They've also got to make it. This is, I think, where Anthem struggled. Is even the rare drops, when you actually got your hands on it, you were like, well, why
Just
was
looks like
this
a normal gun,
hard
feels
to
like a
get?
normal
It's not
gun.
even that good a weapon. The exotic weapons in Division so far really feel like they're worth getting. At least the chatterbox is. I love it.
Yeah.
And like I said, the only problem for me, I guess maybe game design is different in the age of YouTube and Reddit and walkthroughs, because the game designers know that only one
They know
person has
it's a
to figure this
community
out,
event.
and then it'll spread. That
Yeah.
knowledge will spread like a virus. But without being able to lean on other players and without being able to look at YouTube walkthroughs and things like that, I guarantee I never would have figured out how to assemble the chatterbox by myself.
Right. Yeah, and so that to maybe that end, they need some quest exotics that are a little easier. And that was where I was just going to end my point, was the thing that they didn't get right so far is the drop rate and the amount of exotics. Like all of us that have played, frankly, I'd say, 50, 70 hours. But as you move towards World Tier 5, you just need to get a good exotic drop that you feel like you can use. And unfortunately, I've talked to way too many people, and they either got a drop on the way that now they can't use because
Gotcha.
you're waiting for like a blueprint or the next drop, or they're just not getting any. And that's where I sit. I have the only drop that dropped randomly. I got the parts, and I know that I can finish these steps, but right now I just have been busy doing other stuff. I only have the Lullaby shotgun, which is more PvP focused, and so I haven't even gotten a drop exotic that I feel really good about. And I put 123 hours.
I understand what
That
you're saying.
needs
You're
to
saying
be
I haven't had a
adjusted.
single exotic weapon drop randomly in
the only exotics
Yeah,
I
you
have
haven't
are
even had that.
I only have the ones that like came with the version of the game we got, which is the Lullaby shotgun and something else too.
Yeah, and
But I
so
never use the
and
Lullaby.
maybe they could have used a few more exotics in the game. I know that they're going to build that out, but
Of course. I mean, that's
it feels too sparse. And so I'm grinding towards level and special talents on other stuff, but like I don't feel like I'm chasing a certain exotic, which you really could use right now.
Do you miss that? I mean, so 'cause for me, not being the games as service guy, not being the grindy Destiny player guy, like I'm like, oh, it's cool that it's there, and I'm looking at it right now. Some guy goes off on the steps to go get it. That's all awesome, but it's not like I feel like I'm missing it. I would have loved to have had it by now, but I feel like the game's rewarded me in so many different other ways as I've gone that I'm not sitting there being like, oh man, I wish I'd gotten. It sucks that I don't have an exotic.
So we can gut check this real fast.
Sure, gut
What
check
is
me.
the favorite drop you've got that you can't believe that you got?
No, I don't have one.
What
You know
about
what I
you?
mean?
And just a regular drop.
Yeah, does anything stand out? You're like, that was solid drop that I got. It could be any drop.
I got a police M4 assault rifle that had a plus 35 stability stat on it.
Oh, wow.
And it was already high stability, just as a natural
so it's
roll.
super stable.
With it was maxed out on stability. And so one of the frustrating things about, I mean, it's built into the game design, but like guns
Especially on controller.
guns have judder and they move, and it's hard. You can
Goes
start
up.
on a target, but again, you have to like keep
Oh, yeah.
working the thumbstick to
It's
hold on the
everything.
target. With this one, You don't. It's
It's like a laser beam.
100% stable.
That's awesome.
It's a laser.
That's awesome.
And I loved it.
Yeah.
But it's low level.
But eventually I leveled out of it and I had to leave it behind.
And see, that's my thing. Is
that's
like
my
you talk
point.
about my notable drops. For me, it's always just the next great version of the assault rifle. I love using assault
Yeah,
rifles.
see,
So as
you
long
just
as
like the
I'm
weapon.
getting higher and higher assault rifles, and I have the mag mod that's like plus 30. Then so I have like 75 bullets I'm shooting.
Yeah,
on
it
a
feels
thing.
good enough. But that's the point. The games like this need that moment where you're like, oh my gosh, I got it. And I feel like now I'm working on set drops, but certainly on the exotic side, it's just a little too sparse and far and few between. And I know they're actually looking at it. But right now, that's one of my
I mean,
gripes.
again, this is kind of the game designer's curse, isn't it? It's the devil is in the details, and the whole the nature of it. An exotic weapon suggests that it's very rare, right?
Oh yeah, and it should.
So again, it's that thing. Well, let's make exotics easier to get, or drop them into the world a bit more, make them a bit less rare. Suddenly they become less exotic, and now everyone's running around with their chatterbox, and you feel less special about
Definitely.
yours. So that's like a little game
Yeah, you
design.
can't-
One of the finer points of game design is making them just rare enough that you're excited about getting them, but not so rare that it's frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, they put percent drops on stuff. So let's say sometimes you'll play, let's say an exotic drops from Jefferson Trade Center, which it does. Usually they put in a number literally like 2% or 5% chance. So if you play it 20 times, if you play it on a certain mode, you're probably going to get it. You're not guaranteed, but so they've done that. But my general point was there's just not enough happening there yet, and not enough, I feel like, reward for what's out there. The quest exotics maybe, but they're pretty convoluted. There's a lot of steps to take. But my point is I'm still waiting outside of that LMG that I got. That is, I do have one item, but it's not exotic, and that's the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah, there's
I
a-
want to
that
be
is-
rocking an exotic.
Is that fair though? I mean, for month 1 of a game they think is going to go on for like 3 years or whatever.
Yes, because I feel like, well, I mean, it's a fair question. The raid is not even out yet, and for all we know, by doing the raid,
You get exotic.
but you got to get 8 people together. There might be something really cool in there that you're probably going to have a good chance to get. But when I look at 120 some hours and how much I've played and really strategized as I'd say a medium tier min maxer. Yeah, I mean, I feel I deserve more than I have a 450 Lullaby shotgun and it's PvP focused. And I'm like, well, I can't even use it right now.
Yeah.
Something's going on there that needs to be adjusted.
Yeah,
Maybe
that's what I think the game's so good at right now, where I'm not at all worried about my exotics or having the best drops or whatever. It's just the idea that the raid isn't here, and the game keeps dropping breadcrumbs in terms of like, okay, guys, you were wondering, we had I felt like only a week, but it must have been 2 weeks of when's World Tier 5, when's Tidal Basin. Then it's next week, or it was announced it's gonna be next week, and then it was that, and then raid's announced for the end of April, and they keep adding things to this game that for the people like us that do want to play it nonstop and want to fucking quit work and only do this game.
Sorry, that's the show. See everybody later. We're going to
You know what I mean? It is that thing of I feel like we're being rewarded enough, while at the same time, when I do sign on and Scott's playing or my friend Richie's playing and I jump in there and they are not World Tier 5 or they are not like that worried about it, I still have fun playing with them.
It's a dangerous balance though, because how do you make sure to get your hooks in as many people as possible when the rarity is so high? See, you may not care as much, but there's a lot of people that do care.
Oh, no, sure.
And that's frankly where I think Ben was coming from, is you'd think after, I don't know how many hours, but that he'd have something.
70 something you said, yeah.
Although he was rewarded, so it's tough to say. I'd be
And
curious.
that's the thing is like I feel like we're gonna start going to a point you wanted to make, how much stuff there is to do in this game. Yeah. I feel like there's enough in there that you are being rewarded on what you choose to care about. So, Gary chooses to care about going to get the exotic. He goes and gets the exotic. He feels great. He's got a chatterbox, right? Whereas for me, it was, I every time I sign on or sign off or I'm thinking, or I pop in for a little bit to figure out what it was. There was one night where I popped in. I'm like, you know what? I'm not hitting up Fran. I'm not hitting up Scott. All I'm going to do is run around and get all the dyes.
Yep.
I want all the dyes because I want to dye all my clothes and have outfits and color coordinated. And I just went and did that for not even that long. I feel like it was like 45 minutes and I had everything. And I was like, this was so rewarding to me. This is what I wanted out of the experience tonight.
Yeah, that's what's
How
funny.
do you get the dyes?
They're the airdrops that are hanging from trees. So you have to run over and shoot them.
Yeah, sometimes they just. Oh, are dyes always like that? Or they just? I thought they're in alleyways sometimes.
No, they're always
You
hanging
can get
from
them
the.
in, you can get them in random loot drops.
So
Well, I mean,
like
not just from
pants and
trees.
stuff
They can
you
be
might
hanging
get.
from anywhere.
Oh, I didn't really. Yeah, I mean, I've got a lot of vanity items. I didn't realize they're always the hanging from.
The dyes are always the hanging orange.
Something.
They're always hanging from something. Yes, that's a better way to say it.
There you go. Great illustration. But
Right.
that's
And what do you know? Like that's the thing about this game. There's so many different nooks and crannies that what
That
I
is
care
what's
about,
amazing.
I still have information to tell you, even though you're so far ahead of me.
Yeah, and that's why I want to end on the exotic point, which is So stop complaining, Fran, right? Go get your exotic if you
Yeah,
want
stop being a baby,
That is
you
what's
big baby.
interesting. They did do a good job on quest exotics. If I want it, go get it. But my main point was just be nice if I got
Something.
I
Something
can tell
along
you,
the way.
as grinding a lot, it just would be nice if something dropped at a high tier, and maybe even something between exotic. I mean, you get so many high ends. I don't know. It's very confusing sometimes. That like, how do I know? So I might have something where I'm like, actually, that one is good. And in any event, well, I'm still playing. I think I could use a little more, but there's so much to do in this game, man.
Speaking of how much there's to do, this is going to be a jumping off point for that conversation. Carrier Trinidad writes into patreon.com/kindoffunnygames, says, I loved the Dark Zone in Division 1, but I've put about 75 hours into Division 2 and still haven't touched it other than the intro mission. Am I the only one? Still loving the game regardless. Have you
No,
guys...
I'm in the same boat. I loved the Dark Zone in
D1.
D1. Did all the introduction. I did all the missions to unlock the Dark Zones in Division 2.
Yeah.
But haven't yet spent much time in there. It's weird. I only feel comfortable going inside the Dark Zone in a group. I don't like going in there by myself.
Yeah.
I get scared.
It's hard, yeah.
Yeah. And so when right now, the player base has kind of sloughed off a little bit because a lot of players have hit what they feel is like the ceiling of what they can accomplish in the game meaningfully, and they're waiting for the raid or the next thing. A lot of min-maxers, I feel like, well, I noticed this before World Tier 5. After people had hit the max of World Tier 4, and like everyone was like 455 or 456, like as high as you could go, and there was not really much else to do for min-maxers. A lot of people just stopped playing until the next content drop came.
Sure.
And I think we're kind of there right now, kind of caught between the tail end of World Tier 5 and where the raid is. There's not a lot of people, not as many people playing as
Online
like
every
right
night.
after new content drops. So when I go on to, I'm perfectly happy to play solo. But when I go into the Dark Zone, I feel more comfortable going in knowing I've got some people with me.
Sure.
And what I've read has suggested that for all of the shit you have to go through in the Dark Zone to get contaminated gear out, the gear is actually not radically better than what you would get in the PvE areas of the game. Yeah, I feel like if you're going to go in and deal with other players and calling in the helicopter and some of the high-end bosses you find in the Dark Zone, the loot's got to be worth it.
I feel like, Carrie, you're not alone. We're the same way. But my first-hand experiences with the Dark Zone have been, like, I remember weekend 1 or whatever, or 2 maybe, where I jumped in, I texted you. You were still asleep because you streamed like 5 in the morning. But I was like, dude, I just went on and no one's in the Dark Zone. I got a whole bunch of good shit, a whole bunch of yellows, blah, blah, blah. I've been doing it I'm going to eventually try to platinum this. Let's try to knock stuff out. I have yet in the Dark Zone to run into a rogue agent, and I think I've only run into one person. And I'm not like extensively playing the Dark Zone, but like the 3 or 4 times I've jumped in, I'm not seeing other human beings. And I was like, I'm going to clean up, which I thought would be a great idea. And it was working on what it would have been East and West Dark Zones, but that South Dark Zone kicks the shit out of me. I just need to extract one item from there, and I'll get the trophy to have them extract everything. But like every time I go in there, like all the missions are hard, and I'm just getting my fucking head kicked in. So I need people to play with, but I'm not even seeing people in there.
Yeah.
I mean, what you've got to do is get it with a group and agree that you're going to go into the Dark Zone together.
I think it goes back to what I'm seeing is there's so much to do in this world.
Yeah.
And people were waiting for tier 5, which was the first gap, as you said, which is like, you can keep playing, but you might just want to wait and however you want to play. But now that we're in the true end game, I mean, you can reach maybe 515. We don't know how high it'll go once the raid is out, because even then, I don't know if it'll go to 550 or what will it go to? Maybe 515. We don't know. But the point is, you can only go so high. But that's a great spot to be. I'm still shedding skin, so to speak, of all this crap that I need to make sure that I don't want. Figuring my builds out. The truth is, I don't feel like I have enough time. So I think they did just such an awesome job. Now that we're finally in tier 5 in the end game, I have so much that I'm chasing. I'm chasing gear sets. I'm chasing talents. I'm chasing recalibrations, and I need money for recalibrations. I need yada yada.
Are you selling everything, or are you still breaking?
For the most part, I sell almost everything. And then, I don't really need the material. So I'm selling because it's so expensive to recalibrate. 6,000 plus the materials. That's the real grind, is unless you're playing a lot of strongholds and other stuff, missions, you're not getting electronics or ceramics, which you need. So that's where I'm like, dude, this is great. Because, for example, like I said, I love my LMG. It's a 493 though. So, I mean, in theory, I just want another one that is as good of a roll, but is a 500.
Of course.
And like, who knows when that day will come. The good news is it was close enough that it doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
only 7 apart from whatever the max is. But once we can start getting maybe 515 weapons or who knows out of the raid, then the story will change. Whatever the case, there's so much to do. And as it pertains to the Dark Zone, I think it's created a bit of a problem, is that the Dark Zone has been treated as the Dark Zone, meaning they thought of some really good stuff to like split it up, and there's a community of the Dark Zone. And, all right, let's try to bring them together by having smaller Dark Zones. And they have all these things to do, and it makes sense on paper. But what it doesn't make sense is when you hop in with your friends, you're like, do you want to do Tidal Basin? Do you want to go do this? I need to go do this. I feel like nobody...
I'm so close on this apparel cache. Can we go run things in Foggy Bottom?
Yeah, and by the way, there's no daily that truly will send you into
Dark
like
Zone.
a daily project that will send you to Dark Zone, and that's the piece that I would change. Is why not? Why,
Give you more reasons to go in
Why
there.
isn't the VIP mission actually asking you to go into the Dark Zone in a really cool plotted out mission that's in there? Like I feel like I don't even understand it, but that would change things.
The introductory missions that unlock the Dark Zones do that, but then after that, there's not much.
You can play
Right.
those solo, and
Yeah.
that's the thing. There's no so I think they need to fix that because it's a little like putting the milk in the back of the grocery aisle. Like unless you get me back there, I'm not gonna go through the rest of the store. And so get me into the Dark Zone with something, then I might want to kind of stick around there. And but I definitely feel it's sparse because of it. With Tier 5's update, they did add, for example, an LMG exotic that you can get in there, Pestilence, I think it is. It's pretty cool. From the sound of it, whether or not it's like a OP weapon, who knows, but I would like it. But I have the same problem that you guys were describing, which is like, nobody's even like in there right now. Like when I look at my friends list, nobody's even in there. So like, can I even put a group together? Nah, I'll just matchmake into, strongholds. And there's something about that. You can matchmake into the Dark Zone, but I don't feel compelled to do it.
There's no compelling reason to go in there. I think, it's not. It sounds like a negative, and it is because they built this thing. And I guess we're not using
It's
it,
a
but
really
it's
cool
also
place.
it also speaks so much to how they've nailed the amount of shit to do in the world of Washington D.C. Where there is Tidal Basin, there are the strongholds, as soon as we go in there, it's invaded stuff. Of now Black Tusk is there, so the missions feel different, even though they were there. And you see, playing the Air and Space Museum. The space shuttle's already down right now because in the main story mission it crashes down in this really cool moment. It's already down, but now Black Tusk is all over it, and you're running around doing that. Let alone control points and hostage rescues, and the fact that the daily missions and the apparel missions are like sometimes saying like go help people out in Foggy Bottom.
That's
Capitol
the thing
Hill.
that I've been most impressed by in the wider context is, again, a lot of the Division 2's gotten very good press coverage, and a lot of one of the big angles that coverage has landed on has. Looking at the Division 2 in the wider context of comparing it to other games like Destiny and Anthem, specifically at launch, and making the case that the Division 2 is perhaps the first game in this genre of kind of live world games as a service that came out of the gate feeling pretty fully formed
totally,
and pretty mature.
Right.
Again, compare it to Anthem, which was so broken, and against which one of the greatest criticisms leveled was there's just not that much to do.
Yeah.
The Division it's almost embarrassing
There's
how
no
much there is to do.
comparison,
Right.
how much there is to do in Division compared to Anthem. And I like some aspects of Anthem, as
me
we
too.
talked about. But once I played Division, that is what's to your point about even getting vanity items, or you'll need Shade Tech, and you realize it's a puzzle on how to get up. Sometimes
Oh my
you're
God!
running.
Some of those Shade Tech, we've got to talk
Yeah.
about Shade Tech puzzles at some point. Holy shit!
It is, but that's exactly the topic I feel like we're on, which is like, holy cow, I just wanted to go grab the Shade Tech, and I found myself involved in this 10, 15-minute excursion. I'm like running around a building, like looking for like ways
Trying to figure out how to get to it. Yeah.
And they've thought of so much.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's so much to do, and it goes back to the Dark Zone point, which is like, I feel like Dark Zone is for later still. And for whatever those reasons are, which is the point I was trying to make, it's like, I don't know why it seems like it's for later. I feel there's so much I have to do, and it's not in the Dark Zone right now.
Sure.
For me, personally.
It's the same thing with. Have you done any of the competitive?
I've
The
only
PvP?
in the very beginning.
No, I'm never going to touch that.
I
I
feel
popped
like-
in for the trophy, hoping I could just knock it out easily, and sure enough, it's just teams of 4 running around beating the shit out of anybody who's not organized. I'm like, God damn it, just give me the trophy.
I think similar, and it goes back to my Destiny experience. There's no yeah, there's no reason that you would need to hop in there to get some powerful drop. At least not apparently.
Yeah.
Like I'm not trying to get a set gear drop out of there and feel like I should just go play a quick 20-minute match. And
That's something they can work on, though.
They need to
you
incentivize you.
know,
Yeah.
again, as they mature the game and evolve it and do patches, they're going to see, oh, well, people aren't really going into the dark zone. Well, let's give them a reason to, and hopefully they'll have that.
Perfect example. If you do weeklies, right, the weekly invaded stuff, you get guaranteed green level drops now through strongholds and some other mission stuff. Why not just put just one in there, and then it'll force me. I guarantee you, I'll play a PvP if you put that little green gear on there. So I think they can easily solve it. Whether or not it's balanced, and I've heard some stuff that it's the experts have just found all the exploits that it can be pretty brutal in there. But I haven't played it since the beginning. It seems like it's very niche. There's some people who want to play that, and it's not the majority.
I have no desire to, but I want that trophy.
I'm not
for winning one match.
Of a lot of people that want to play it, which is an interesting balance. People aren't playing the division for PvP. But it's nice that it's there.
100%.
So
I spent the first couple of weeks of the division being actively overwhelmed by how much there was to do. And go back to the earlier point when people say, oh, you know, right now there's not much to do in terms of maximizing for those people that are already at like 510 or whatever, and they feel like they've min-maxed their gear score, and there's no point running anything because they're not going to get a better drop than they already have until the loot gets better. I don't look at it that way, though. I'm happy just to go in and run around. I'm happy. Not everything has to be a means to an end.
Yeah.
I'm perfectly happy just to go in and explore the world, pick up Shade Tech, and I do want to talk about Shade Tech.
Do it. Start. Just go around.
So it took me a while to realize what you just touched on is that I thought Shade Tech was just like, it's nice to have. You actually don't. It's actually not terribly. I have an abundance of it. I have more Shade Tech than I know what to do with.
Oh, you haven't bought
all
your skills and everything.
Oh no, I have. I've bought all my skills, but I've still got quite a lot. I've bought every perk in the game maxed out, but I've still got quite a bit of Shade Tech left over.
Oh, I didn't realize there's more in the, because I haven't bought all my skills. I actually have like 35 Shade Tech just sitting there.
I have like 72 Shade Tech because I only use turret and I only use drone. I'm like, whatever.
But anyway, I didn't realize there's an abundance.
Well, and again, and I haven't even picked up most of what's in the world. A lot of it is. Every now and again,
he's unlocked the perks, but not like you. Like what are the skills you're using?
In other words, do you have like all 4 chem launchers, all 4 turrets? No.
You've got all the perks you want, right? Your skills you've got.
I only used I use turret and seeker mine. I have those maxed out.
Exactly.
But I'm not hive and all. I'm not maxed.
You don't feel compelled, but that's nice. You have it if you need it.
Yeah.
However, you're still chasing Shade Tech.
Yes,
apparently.
so much fun.
Which is interesting.
So I started. So again, every now and again, when I want to have like, I don't need to do a big raid or whatever. I just want to kind of run around the world a little bit and grab some stuff. And I would just do Shade Tech runs. One of the every area has a project for get a certain number of Shade Techs. Not all of them, but like 4 or whatever to liberate that area. So I'll just run around picking up Shade Tech, and it's fun just to explore the world and have a low-key play session. And one of the great things about the kind of the active nature of the world is it's almost impossible to run around for 30 seconds without running into some kind of shit.
Yeah, there's always
a firefight.
I'll
go. Fine, I'll go. And you can decide, shall I run by this or do I want to get involved?
Yeah.
Maybe I get involved and go help out the green guys for a little bit and see what happens. Or there's like a propaganda broadcast that you can do solo, or a hostage execution, or whatever it might be. There's always it feels like a very, very busy world.
Oh, yeah.
To the point at which it's almost kind of annoying. Sometimes just leave me the fuck alone. I'm just trying to get from A to B, and there's conflict everywhere in the world.
Yeah, the amount of times I've like stuck and tried to just let a thing pass where I'm like, I just want to unlock this thing. Just go past me.
And every now and then I've gone around a corner and just run literally like right into a patrol. Oh shit. And suddenly it's all kicking off. So I love the way that the world feels dangerous and alive.
Yeah.
It took me a while to figure out what was going on with the Shade Tech, because the Shade Tech at first, the first maybe 15 or 20 that I picked up were just, okay, it's an alley. Climb over that fence, it's in an alley, whatever. And then I started coming up once again. Well, shit, it's right there on my map. Why can't I fucking...
Yeah.
Where the hell is it? Is it above me? Is it below me?
What am I doing wrong?
Or I can see that it's behind a fence, but the fence doesn't open, or there's barbed wire on top. And I started to realize, oh shit, they're puzzles. You got to figure this shit out. There was one... It was the only one that I've had to do, and I hated the fact that I had to go look up a YouTube... or it was a walkthrough. It was like how to find all the Shade Tech in this area.
Yeah.
And I had to look up this one particular one. It was in a kind of like a shanty, like a refugee camp. And I could fucking see it. It was glowing, taunting me. Like it's right there, but it was behind a chain link fence door that I couldn't open. And I was like, where the fuck? There's no way in. It's barbed wire everywhere. I feel like it's right there. It's killing me. And eventually I discovered. Well, I discovered how to go to YouTube.
Yeah. Google.
And Googled it. And so what you have to do is basically, essentially, kind of leave that immediate area. There's a watchtower some distance away that you climb up, and from your sniper rifle, you can shoot the lock off the door from the other side. But it's like the door is only visible through like. It's behind a wall. There's maybe
like a crack, sort of.
There's a little 4-pixel crack that you can shoot this lock off. And again, someone found it. I was like, I would never have found that on my own.
Yeah,
I never would have thought. Well, maybe if I go look from this tower.
Have you been doing the contaminated zones?
No, what are the contaminated zones?
See, that's the other thing. Yeah, contaminated zones are just narrative based. You go in there, there's no combat. It's like a puzzle room of you find the recorder, then you have to figure out how to get to the next room to get the next recorder.
You have
to
to
get
put your mask on. It's a little mini dark zone.
Right.
Yeah, but like
they had those in the first game as well.
Yeah, but these feel more puzzly than those do. Like these stand out
just
to me.
Just to get in and like how to open the door.
It's the exact same. How do I get in there? You go there. Like the first one I did, it was like I got the recorder and then I was like, all right, nothing's open. Like, but I know that these can get cleared. So I was like walking around and then it was like bring up my crosshairs, junction box, shoot the junction box, open the door on the other side of the wall that I was able to go.
A lot of the shade tech is like that, and it increasingly it reminded me a little bit of getting all the backpacks in Spider-Man, because some of those on the mini map, it looks like, well, shit, it's right here. Where would it be? But it's actually like on a level below you, like under a bridge or something, and it's hidden in this really neat spot. It's satisfying when you get them. But yeah, so some of those puzzles had me pulling my hair out.
Yeah.
That's what impressed me so much about the game is, when you look at it, I think it gets a rap for being you duck behind stuff and you shoot bullet sponges.
Sure.
I think.
Yeah, Jen watches me play games all the time, and this is the one game where she's like, "This game is boring to watch. Yeah. All you're doing is crouching down, shooting, moving to the next thing, crouching down, and shooting." I'm like, I get that. Yeah.
Yeah. So like to an outside observer, maybe you haven't tried it, or you tried it when Division first came out, and you were left with that feeling. You're like, wow, I'm getting cover. But the truth is, once you really settle into the world, there's like so much to do, ways to change your abilities. But that's what impressed me about stuff like the vanity items, the shade tech. Once you start doing these sort of, call it solo things, you're like, wow, they really put a lot of thought into this. I mean,
that's the amazing thing. Like every little piece of shade tech is a designed puzzle that they had to.
And there's so much of it.
Yeah.
So again, some of them are simple in an alley, and that's what I thought it was going to be. And then next thing I knew, I'm like going all the way around the block. I'm looking up. I got inside a building who I never thought I would get inside of. Now I'm in a building. The building's completely built out, and then it's got a story in it, graffiti on the walls telling the story of how this family died or whatever. And you're like, this is just for this.
Yeah.
And I'm not even done with it. I played 123 hours, I guess, right? Yeah. And that, as someone who's grinded a lot of these games, their pacing and thoughtfulness of how much there is to do is unprecedented, quite frankly.
And also, I mean,
they've learned so much and done so much.
Games, I feel like that are long tail ones, even just regular RPGs, right? A struggle that some of them will have will be reward over time, right? The reward per hour kind of thing. Whereas I've played other games, RPGs, where you don't feel like you're leveling quickly enough. You want that cool thing, but you're never going to get there. Early on in this game, I did feel when we were going into perks and I was spending my shade tech on them to get more carrying capacity, more of this, another like. That was all happening so quickly that I always felt I was only another one mission away from getting something awesome that was going to make the experience better.
And
even all the way here now, it's the same way of, even if I'm going to do a control point, even if I'm going to hop into somebody else's game, I know that something's going to happen, or I'll get some piece of clothing that'll make the experience better for me. And it's that crazy thing of, I know looter shooters are meant to be an RPG and meant to be like, you're building your own character. When Andrea and I had talked about The Division forever, but when we finally got back together to do, to pull her up to get her ready for Tidal Basin, to jump in and see her character and see her specialization and I'm like, man, you are you're using the same sunglasses as me or whatever, but we are completely different in like everything we've done and like the way that you give so many options and just let it go and see what people end up with. It's amazing.
The carrot on the stick and just that grind. Like you're 70 hours in, and I was going to say only at it's a lot.
No, right.
But it's just crazy how it continues to pace out, and there's always something to do. Like I don't have all the dyes you have.
Yeah.
I don't have things that Gary has. Like I don't have the exotic stuff. I'm so impressed with how much they've given you to do, and I feel like I think I mentioned it on the show, but if not, we were talking about it before. But to reinforce, I hit this period in the middle of the game. I don't think we mentioned it, where I was like, I don't know, man. I feel like it is just bullet sponges.
No, that definitely was the show.
Okay, it's talking about it. But yeah, the end game, I got hooked, and now it's all I think about. and something has changed, and that is a great sign.
I never used to be much of a completionist. Spider-Man did this for me. I was never much of a completionist, but I became obsessed with getting every backpack.
Yeah.
And I'm not usually the kind of person that cares about that stuff, but for some reason it just got me, and I wanted to find every backpack.
We're gonna make you a trophy whore yet.
Yeah, see, I'm not either. I don't care about the trophy.
And the Division 2 has kind of done a similar thing. It's like, even though I don't necessarily care about glamming out my character with all the different apparel items and all the different dyes, but I still want them.
Sure.
And it's like, for some reason, I get more excited when a cosmetic drops, the little cyan, the little blue-colored one, than a practical. Ooh, a cosmetic! I'm so
what
excited.
Is this, new pants?
Oh,
new
it's
shoes?
it's a baseball hat, which I'm never going to wear.
Yeah.
But like, I just
you want it all. You want that wardrobe.
I just want it. Yeah, I want
I'm the
wardrobe.
same way. I was trying to explain to somebody recently about it when I was talking to them. Just like, you have to understand, like, I'm going to platinum this game one day. It's still on my radar. But when I jump in, even though I could just be focused on that now and I could be done with it in quotes, like, that's not what I want to do. I want to do everything in the game, not everything for the trophy list. Like, I want to do that, but that's not my goal. My goal is to get every die. It is to get the cool guns. It is to get my gear score up. Even once my gear score's up, it's to move on to the next cool style and find a loadout that I really, really do love, where I'm activating all the perks together. That's not me. I am the guy who's like, I'm either done with the game or I platinum the game and I'm done with the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's either I roll credits or I platinum it and then it's on to the next thing because I have things to do and play.
Let me ask you this. I feel like there's three different fundamental experiences when you play the Division 2. There's playing by yourself.
Yeah.
There's matchmaking into pickups, and then there's playing with a group of your friends. How much time have you spent kind of doing each of those things, and how different has your experience or your level of fun with the game changed depending on who you're playing with?
I would probably say for me personally, matchmaking with friends, and I'm including best friends, the Kind of Funny Clan and stuff like that, or What's Good Guardians, like, but people we know in some respect. That's been the lion's share.
But using matchmaking?
No, I'm just talking about like putting out a clan message. Hey, I'm running these. If you want to join on me in the clan, we join on. They're best friends we've talked to before, or I'm running with Fran or Scott or Andrew or whatever. That I would probably say has been 85% of the time, and then the other, whether it's the 20 or 15, has all been single player. I've not randomly matchmaked, with the exception of, oh, there's a distress call. Maybe I can pop that trophy. Jump in. Nope, can't pop that trophy. Jump out.
So that's a really great I think that's an awesome question, because I was thinking about the matchmaking, and I'm curious to hear where you land on this. I went from skeptical that this world would be healthy enough with some of the, I wasn't sure if it's selling well or not, and we're still waiting, I think, to hear.
All we know is it was #1 in the UK, but it was still 20% less than what it did on the first game, but first week. But that doesn't count because, of course, where are we at now with the digital games and yada yada.
But what I can say is I went from skeptical that I was going to be able to matchmake and get into healthy matches, especially as you get into end games. Things just naturally usually thin out, to if I broke it up, I started grouping up a lot in the beginning, because without friends, I was like, I just don't think matchmaking is going to work. And it was broken, by the way, because the scaling. So I had a negative matchmaking experience, and I thought it would thin out. So it turns out, I think I'm probably now matchmaking, call it 50% of the time. Literally just random, set matchmake. I'm going to go do a bounty, VIP bounty, a clan bounty, and people are like hopping in for the most part. I am worried about the state of that, because that is so important to the health of the game for me and keeping that community there. But grouping up and the clan system is really good, and it's been pretty awesome to have people just like jump in, or I'll put out invites and stuff when I see you on.
Yeah.
And then I'd say like I play solo the least. So if I had to rate it as like 50%, I just want to play, and I'll matchmake randomly. Because there's just not enough people, or like I don't have time to put together the group, and let's see what happens. Then maybe 30% of the time going with groups of friends, and then 10-20% of the time is just solo. But Gary, how's it been for you?
I think it's been kind of, like I said, 3 different things, and I think I've roughly kind of got it kind of even, like maybe like 30 in that.
It's pretty healthy.
Sometimes I just want to play by myself. If I just want to go in and get shade tech or like screw around, I'm not going to drag other group members around. I can do that. I can explore the world by myself. I can take care of myself in a firefight. And I don't necessarily need a lot. Sometimes you just want to do your own thing.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So sometimes I'll just do that. But I never have very, very lengthy play sessions when I go. I always enjoy playing with people more. I would say probably 30 or 40% of the time I will just use the auto matchmake function, which, by the way, now is great.
It's been good for you?
I would say typically between, if I'm going into a mission, the time between hitting matchmake and getting put into a group, less than 5 seconds.
Wow.
Really, really impressive.
Yeah.
Like there's always a group.
And these guys know what they're doing?
And they generally know what they're doing.
Yeah.
You've got, it puts you into a voice channel right away. Not everyone's on a mic. That's part of the problem, is that when being in a group without comms is like, you're only really half in that group, because unless you can actually like call out situation. Like, oh, there's the guy on the left or whatever.
I'm getting flanked. Yeah,
Okay, let's go
They're
over
pushing.
here. Like you need that communication. You can. I mean, most of the total basins that I've done have been without comms because at this point the game's mature enough that people know.
Exactly.
Everyone knows
They've
what they're
rehearsed.
supposed to be doing.
So they're like, okay.
Everyone kind of knows their role. But and I would say the rest of the time is, and this is when I enjoy the game the most, is when I log on. Usually someone else on my friends that sees me log on, they get the alert, they send me a party invite, and they say, "Hey, what should we go? What do you want to go do?"
Yeah.
And then we'll just. And it's for me that it's like being in the group is paramount, and then what you actually do as the group is almost secondary. It's like kind of for me, it's like the analogy I always use is like playing golf. I suck at golf. I'm not very good at it. But it's a nice day out with friends, and
Sure.
playing golf is just the vehicle through which you enjoy
hang out,
the company
yeah.
of your friends. And we've talked about this, we've seen this trend grow increasingly in Fortnite and other games where it's more about a place where you hang out with your friends than it is about just playing that particular game.
Right.
With The Division 2, I think it's a bit of both. I enjoy hanging out with the people that I've met online, with the clan members and other friends that I know, people in games media. I play with Adam Sessler a lot and other people like that.
The sis.
The Cess. And I enjoy playing with them. And again, it's more like the number one job is get a group together of like 4 people that you want to play with, and then it's like, what do you guys want to do?
Yeah.
And I was playing with some other friends, again, people that I know IRL, who I enjoy playing with.
Denzel Washington.
Who aren't the same level as me. I don't forget Ice-T plays on Xbox, so it's not out of the
There it
question.
is.
Missing
See?
Ice-T.
I
I'm
can
pretty sure
play
he's
with Ice-T.
playing with it. He's dropped this hint a few times now.
So I would, again, it's like get your friends together and then decide what you want to do.
Yeah.
And like I've had fun playing with people that are like 10, 15 levels below me, but I'm happy just like, what are you doing? I'll help you. Like you need to run this mission, you need to grab Shade Tech, you need to do this or that. Like I'll just join the group and hang out with them and help. And it's fun, again, you just chat and it's fun to play with people. And when I play like that, that's when I can go to like 1 o'clock in the morning or whatever until
Sure.
one of the problems of being on Pacific time is that oftentimes people have to log off before you do because they're on
Yeah.
the East Coast
yeah.
or whatever, and it's like it's 10 o'clock for me, but it's 1 o'clock in the morning for them.
Yeah.
Every time
And they
somebody
can't
says
play
that
any
when
longer.
we're playing, we'll be at 1 o'clock and like
Yeah.
they'll be like, I gotta go. It's 3:30 in the morning. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, well, you're
Why are you
crazy.
up right
I gotta
now?
get
I
up
was
for
playing with a
work
guy
in
from the
3
UK
hours.
that was up until like 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning playing
Yeah.
with us.
Yeah.
It's like, holy shit, these guys are dedicated.
I do think it's worth noting on the matchmaking, though. I've been impressed, and I think there's a stigma that it's not good, that you do have to be on comms, but frankly, overall, it's been really good. You occasionally run into groups where maybe they don't know what they're doing, but actually, overall, you want a game like this that you can just hop in, and I feel like it's made it to the point that you don't have to worry about finding friends, looking for group, which is a problem that a lot of these games have. So it's pretty good right now.
And the matchmaking systems they have built into the game are great as well. Like if you physically walk up to a mission start point, you
Yeah,
can
you
matchmake.
can
You can
there.
matchmake there, or you can
Visual.
matchmake from the map. There's so many different. The only thing that I've noticed that I think doesn't. It's a nice idea, but I don't think it's being used very much. Is the call for backup? I get backup calls all the time, and I never respond to them.
Yeah.
When I put out backup call, no one responds.
But that's because we're too busy. But you're right.
You're also caught in your own world at that point, right?
Yeah.
Like I feel like I'm in the same boat of like if I'm not playing with somebody, I'm playing whatever we want to play as a group. If I'm playing solo, it's like, well, no, I'm hunting shaders. No, I'm doing this. It's like I have a mission goal in mind. So when it does pop, I'm like, maybe I'll get a trophy. But like the trophies, I have to res the guy who actually called. And there was one fucking game where I went over there and it was a team and they were doing like a tier 3 or whatever control point, and the one guy kept going down, but he wasn't the one who paged. So I kept resing him.
I'm going to try to be a good
So-
division citizen and respond to backup calls a bit often. But a few times that I've done it,
Yeah.
when I actually get kind of like teleported into their group,
They're fine.
Either they're fine or they're just
They're
wandering
like-
around. I don't know what it is they're doing. They're just wandering around.
Yeah.
They're not in a mission. It's like, what the fuck are you guys doing?
That's what's interesting, though. I think if you put out a call for backup and you need the help, I believe you actually find a match because you can randomly just like, I'll help someone, and I think people are using it. So, I mean, there's the other side of the coin, which is if you're asking to play with someone, I think it's working. That people, whether or not you say, I'm not responding to that, there are people that are just auto-filling into it.
Right.
Which is pretty cool that it's working on that level, even if you feel like you're ignoring it.
Yeah, and I would say that the kind of the backfilling for the missions works really well as well. Like if you're halfway through a mission and someone drops out or gets kicked or whatever, they'll replace them with someone very quickly. Like you're very rarely short-handed.
Yeah, overall, there are still like some, at least on PlayStation, I can say there's some like basic connection issues that sometimes people get disconnected, so they actually need a chance to rejoin. So what happens is it holds their spot, but then sometimes they're just, you don't know if they're coming back because of the way you matchmade and they're not on a party chat, and you'll be sitting there, and eventually you have to go in and vote them out and get rid of them. Overall, it's pretty good. But I had some issues where I had like open match settings that anyone could jump in, but I was doing it because of just the way PlayStation jumping into friends' matches is. Like, I can't just like invite you from the Division menu to get into my match. If you're not my friend, I can't do that. So I set my party to open, but then I'm like, I'm gonna set up a party chat so you can join me through party chat. But while I'm doing it, it's an open thing, so people are jumping in. And then what I found out is when people jump in and fill the group, that there's right now, is around April 15th, there's a 2-minute or 3-minute timer that you can't vote to boot them until they've been there for at least 3 minutes, probably to protect some, who knows. So now I have to wait 3 minutes to get them out of my group. I mean, an easy solution, I guess, is like I have to open and close it. But anyway, overall,
I hear you. That's a pain in the butt.
Minor issue, but little things like that, you know, maybe they could tune a little bit.
We're wrapping up, believe it or not, but I want to get 2 other people in here, right? Kind of Funny Games, patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. Over there, Freddie wanted to drop a little bit of a review. He goes 486 gear score. Now remember, this is also like these are 2 weeks ago when I posted. Just finished replaying all the missions on hard for the trophy. Now it's just alternate game modes and grinding out the elite cards for the plat. Really enjoying the game and will happily come back every time there are new cosmetics/missions. Parentheses, where are my normal non-sunglasses? I would love normal glasses for my character rather than just sunglasses all the time. Criticisms include, but are not limited to, is the drop rate of hyena keys making the chatterbox SMG a headache to craft, and Ubisoft Challenge weekly rewards being small in comparison to the required task. Michael Kurzer wrote in, patreon.com/kindoffunnygames, says, I've got to say, I'm absolutely in love with this game. I didn't play the original, but I had convinced myself that it was, quote, just a boring cover-based shooter. Not sure how I managed to ignore the fact that so many people liked it. Even leading up to 2, this game wasn't really on my radar. I decided a while ago that with 2 games as service releasing so close together, I had to choose one. And I was certainly more hyped about Anthem, until I played it, of course. Parentheses, for the record, I actually did beat Anthem and enjoyed my time with it, but I'm not going back until it's in much better shape / might not come back, in parentheses. Because of that, I decided to take a gamble and try out the Division 2. Sure glad I did. I couldn't stop playing this game. I was surprised by how much fun the combat is and with all the different skills at your disposal. It's great playing with other people, even in quick sessions. 100 hours later, I'm World Tier 4, 450, and waiting anxiously for the new content. Good stuff.
It's great to hear. Yeah, it's interesting to hear people coming around, like we were saying.
Yeah, well, I think it was an interesting wave that people actually got behind it, that it was actually received. And I know, they took it on the chin a little bit, Ubisoft, for their marketing campaign in the days leading up to launch that were like, we have so much content, and they showed like all the stuff, and people were like, no, like people were just taking shots at it, like, well, this is where we're in 2019. Everybody's saying content. But in a place where games as service get knocked right at launch for not having the content, for them trying to stress the fact that like, no, we have endless amounts of things for you to do at all times. It's definitely true. It's rung true here.
Yeah.
Speaking, though, of endless amounts of content, Adam gets the final word here. Adam Matthew Inc. wrote into patreon.com/kindoffunnygames and says, what's up, best friends? I'm really enjoying this video game club. It's almost as cool as the comic book club. Division 2 has really been great. I'm level 18 and completely ignoring the stories, characters, and plot altogether. Haha. The first game let me down so much with the cobbled together story, I learned to just let go and focus on the gameplay and social aspect of the game. I'm happy that Division 2 is more varied and bigger than its predecessor. Props to Ubisoft for giving the future DLC to the entire player base for free. I think it was a big misstep for them in the previous game, and all in all, it seems like studios are starting to give this long-term support while trying to keep their core player base together. Having not played the previous DLC for Division 1, I don't know what to expect for this game. What are you looking forward to in the Division 2 DLC? Just more levels and shootings? Just more levels and shooting? More guns and skills clothes? In a game where the story is just background noise, I really think Ubisoft has set themselves up for creating fantastic DLC because it's just creating more content around the base game, and I'm excited. Gary, what do you want out of DLC?
I mean, the number one thing I'm excited about is the 8-player raid.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, that's going to be huge. I mean, I love playing with 4 players. I think the dynamics of an 8-player raid and how they build. I keep thinking like, okay, so if I've got 8 players, how difficult and how expansive does the raid have to be to accommodate that and make it challenging for 8 players? So it's going to be really brutal.
Yeah.
And again, I
think a lot
think
more enemies on screen, a lot bigger arenas. You figure
if I can get into a game like, for me, like 8-player raid on comms is going to be awesome. I'm old enough to remember 40-man raids in World of Warcraft back when they still had 40-man raids. And those were really, really fun to do. So I'm really looking forward to 8 players. I'm looking forward to the Pentagon.
Yep.
That'll be really cool. One of the nice things about it's kind of cheesy the way that all the cool stuff. It's like the mission structure of Washington, D.C. in the game is almost like it's like a bus tour of Washington. Let's go to this museum. Let's go to the Smithsonian. Let's go to the Library of Congress.
If you look out left, you'll see the Washington Monument.
So that's
Like
but it's fun, right? It's really fun to be in the Capitol. Like when you're doing the Capitol Rotunda mission, and suddenly you're in the chamber with all the kind of the congressional seats, and it's like, oh, this is really cool. This is where the president gives the State of the Union, and it all feels really fun. I think the Pentagon is going to be really good. Walking around the White House is, it just feels fun. They've obviously got a lot more that they can build out. Let me ask you this, and I'll pose you to the next level. If they're going to do Division 3, where would you like it to be set?
But Division 3 is so far away, Greg. Where would I tell people to
I don't know. I'm glad I'm stupid, obviously. But like, they've done such a good job. And when they announced DC, I was like, what?
Yeah, I was kind of
like, no, New York's awesome. Why are we going to DC? And then playing DC and going into the Air and Space Museum, going into the National History or the American History Museum, it was like, oh, this is fucking epic. So like, it's funny. Like again, Jen's so sick of me talking about the Division 2. Her birthday was on Saturday, and what we did is did a very local birthday of like we got a private tour of Suture Tower, and then we went to the Cliff House for dinner and stuff. And it was that thing of like, I know because of Watch Dogs they probably wouldn't, but like SF is one of those places that does have all these really cool places that could do cool things with it. Maybe enough time will pass from Watch Dogs too.
Yeah, and what's interesting is Washington D.C. and New York aren't that far away. One of the questions I have about the law that I don't think they do a great job of describing is like just how bad is it, right? It kind of seems like a lot of people died. It's not just New York, it's countrywide. One of the when you actually I don't know if you noticed this, but when you complete the story mission that gets the kind of the Shade Tech satellite grid back online where agents
it shows
they show you San Francisco, they show you different locations. So it's clearly nationwide, and I believe in some of the mission texts it says it's worldwide. So I mean they could even go to another country.
Yeah.
I mean you wouldn't be the Division anymore because that's a specifically American thing.
Yeah, when we were predicting places when we were talking about Division 2, I mentioned London. People were like,
London
it wouldn't be the Division
amazing.
anymore. I'm like, I'm sure there is a writer out there smart enough to figure out an idea of why there's some global university.
why don't they get sent there? Because
exactly. They need help, right? Yeah,
I imagine that the British government has. Yeah, the Queen.
Her Knights.
The Queen has something similar to the Strategic Homeland Division. They have their, they've got their secret guys.
For me personally, with the DLC for Division 2, what excites me the most about it is, again, I don't know what it'll be, but what excites me about it is, I think what Massive proved with Division 1 is that they listen and react. And that's what they did with Division 1, right? Where we love Division 1, but so many people were unhappy about this, that, the other. And then when they launched that, patch 2.0 that drastically changed the game, that's when people were like, this game's amazing now. And so for them to come out of the gate this strong with Division 2, I think it is what we're talking about of like, cool, we nailed it, but people aren't happy with the Dark Zone. There's no reason to play combat, this, that, the other. What are cool locations to go to? We already know we're in the Pentagon. We have the helicopter though now, which means you could go anywhere. I hope the second raid is something what we're talking about, where they're like, guys, there's a whole bunch of shit happening in New Orleans, right? Or like something's happening
Boston
in
or whatever,
Virginia that we need to get you over there ASAP, and they send you over. Like there's so many different cool little things that they can just work on now and send you there.
I want to go to the Mint in Kentucky. What is it?
Fort Knox.
Fort Knox.
Yeah. The Wig Sphere.
For me, the formula, the good news is they've nailed the feel of the game, that the formula is simple. The question is, do they have enough production time? Because what they need is, obviously we know more Stronghold stuff's coming, but that's exactly all that they need. The bombastic, like when we've gone into the History Museum, when we've gone into the Space Museum and that crazy dude comes out with the explosion, we just need a little more of that. Normally those are the things that unfortunately they're moving on to the next game, or
I think they're committed to making that happen.
We'll see exactly how much you get, but that's all you need. Is so when I come back to Weekly Reset, it is not Tidal Basin for the 400th time. Now, we're not there yet, but we are fast approaching that. So all they need to do is get to that point, because when Tidal Basin came, I got to tell you, man, I was really impressed and stoked by it. That's why I'm really excited about the raid, although those things are hard to put together. So just some more missions, light versions of the Strongholds, start there, and then obviously move on to all the other stuff. We need more weapons. I would love to see a different enemy type at some point, or different weak points, a little something to mix it up. But the good news is the formula is obvious. Do they have the production time to do it?
I think they do. I think they're totally committed to it. I think
it seems like they've got a roadmap. So I'm kind of immune to this because I picked up the gold version of the game where all the first season. season pass is baked in. What's the first like paid DLC, and when is that coming?
Well, there is no paid DLC. All the DLC and episodes and expansions are free.
Yeah.
The stuff you got through the thing was all like what, cosmetics and some other
No, I thought
early
that
access.
the season pass stuff, I thought, so this current stuff has been free, but I thought Outskirts, which I think is the first season pass stuff, I thought that is, so unfortunately, we all got the gold edition where it's included, but I thought Outskirts
I'm not
first,
paying an extra $30 just for a few cosmetic items. I presume that there was some paid DLC that got factored into that.
So Greg, I think it is, and it's confusing because the raid is free, pretty sure. Again, we have the gold edition. We should know this. Sure. But the raid is free. Tier 5 was free, and so you get through all that. But then there's Outskirts. It's called Outskirts.
Ubisoft has revealed the detail of what's coming to Division post-launch. Division's 2-year content's most impressive slate. As previously revealed, all major editions will be free to all players, but that's not to say season pass holders won't have anything to look forward to. Year 1 will see the release of 3 story episodes. Each episode brings a new story mission and game modes. Over the course of the year, we'll see new specializations, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Dubbed DC Outskirts Expeditions, the first episode will send players chasing down a member of the Outcast and the Black Trusts in a fight to liberate the area surrounding that. Episode 2 is the Pentagon.
And all that stuff is free even if I just bought the regular version of the game?
Yes.
Okay.
Year 1 pass holders will be able to play the story content 7 days before everyone else.
Oh, okay.
They'll also get immediate access to the 3 specializations coming during the year. Non-pass holders will have to grind in order to unlock them.
Wait a minute.
Year 1 pass comes with classified assignments, which are bite-sized story missions that will shed some light about the last hours before the fall of the city. Each assignment awards an exclusive backpack trophy for those who complete them. Season pass holders will also have access to extra bounty per week and an extra project each day until March 1st, 2020.
Okay.
So yeah, all the stuff, the season pass just grants us a little bit of...
You can see why it's confusing.
100%.
I gotta break all this down because I thought it was a certain amount was free, but then you get into like... And at some point, I was thinking that everything was free, but so to simplify it though, all the story,
all the episodes,
stuff,
all is free.
Outskirts that is free.
Season pass holders get it 7 days.
You just get early
early.
access, but you don't get. Okay, the only thing that stands out there that if it's true and how it works, that I can just unlock any specialization. I don't have to grind for it. I don't want to. I want to have to grind for it.
Fine, go be a loser. So I'm not going to do it.
That's part of the grind, man. You shouldn't just give that stuff away.
I'll be interested to see what the game looks like in like a year.
Dude,
like how much it's grown.
I can't wait.
The good news is I'd rather pay $30 and be, now this is coming from someone who's all in, but I'd rather pay the $30 and be a little disappointed with the value of that and have a super healthy game community that has access to everything. And again, this is not something that companies like this have done. Normally there's a ton of like abuse of the store and the microtransactions and this feeling you gotta buy your way into like new content and you don't feel that.
And then like a big paid expansion.
Yep. And you piss off a community, it separates, and then guess what? When I go hit that matchmate button or I ask Greg if he's still playing, they're just not doing it. Oh, I didn't buy that pass. So this could be a really interesting experience in it. And again, props to Ubisoft for thinking about it so clearly.
We'll see how it plays out, ladies and gentlemen. I have a feeling this won't be the last time the Division 2 is the video game club. Let us know what you thought of this episode. Get ready. I'll put up there. I think we're just going to say the next one's Days Gone. But again, I think it might have to slip till May because otherwise you have like 5 days to get questions in about it and stuff like that.
That game's going to take a while.
You're going to need more time than that. So yeah, Days Gone will be the next video game club for issue 3. We'll figure it out. Like I said, if you were like, oh man, but I gave you the buck this month. Don't give me a buck next month. Wait till December. Give me a buck then. Get all the episodes we ever did. Makes sense, right? Right.
No, $1 every month. Come on.
Fran, Gary, thank you for coming through.
Thank you for having us.
You never have to twist my arm to talk about the Division.
Well, we'll see. We got it. Well, I'll go rate it up, and then maybe that'll be what we do in May.
Yeah.
We'll do Days Gone in May to catch up and get them done.
Yeah. Because we have so much time. And I'll beat Sekiro in the meantime, too.
Oh, whatever. Give up on that. Play a real game like the Division 2.
Ooh, it's good.
Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, it's been our pleasure to serve you.